All right, welcome to Beyond Appearance. My name is Keston Rodriguez, and today our guest is Rex Bishop. He's active duty Army. He's a leader, served for over 10 years now, and he's on today to kind of give a little bit of backstory about himself. Rex, how you doing?
I'm here. I'm
I,
alive.
I appreciate you taking the time to sit with us and give us a little bit of backstory, like about yourself. And the goal for today is maybe we can shed some light, or you can shed some light on someone wanting to join the Army. Maybe we can share our experiences together, and maybe to get that one individual to end up enlisting. A little bit about yourself. Can you give us a little background about yourself?
Originally from North Carolina. I was born in Raleigh, North Carolina. Stayed there until I was about 2 or 3. Mom got an inheritance, and we moved from the city out to the country life. Moved into like a double wide trailer, 12 acres of land, and then stayed there. Graduated high school, and then I went out and got me a city of Raleigh job. So I was working on doing maintenance repairs for the lawn equipment for the all of the city of Raleigh, anything from weed eaters to push mowers to the bush hogs that cut down on the highways and stuff like that. And then that turned out to be a dead end job because I was trying to look for advancements and promotions, but there I would have to be there for like an additional 5 or 6 years just for something to open up. And the guy that I work with, I used to do side jobs with him. He had his own shop and everything at his house. So as soon as I got done working for the city, I would go down and turn wrenches with him, working on dump trucks and stuff like that. But he was the one that actually got me to join the Army. He told me, he's like, hey, why don't you go and join the Army? And I was like, oh, I'll take a look at it. And then after that, that's where it all started. And now 13 years later,
Here
I
you are.
am.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So what about so North Carolina, right?
Mm.
What do you say? Like, what do you do as a hobby growing up, though? Like before you start working for the shop.
I would say for the younger part of my life, I probably spent most of my time outside, just because we had that happy mix of, because you used to ride dirt bikes, so we had a dirt bike trail that was on the open area, and then a dirt bike trail that went inside the wood line, so we had plenty of space to go outside. So that's where I spent most of my childhood. But then obviously as I got older, I lost interest in that, started getting in like playing video games, going to the gym, and then work and bills came along and I had time for nothing else. So
Okay, good stuff. So this gentleman, like, who told you to join? Like, did that person have like any prior service or something, or they're just like, hey, you need to go do this?
no, he had no prior service. His wife's father is retired Air Force. But I don't know, I guess he seen something in me that he thought was Army material,
Okay.
even though he's got no background in it. And so he started like we would go on runs because like right when you join or you talk to the recruiter, you got that 111 assessment. You do the 1 minute push-ups, 1 minute
Right.
sit-ups, and then 1 minute mile, or however long for the mile. So we were out there and we were doing that every day. And I remember because we had 8-hour shifts, so every hour he would walk past me and be like, "Hey, knock out 10 push-ups." And so like every hour I'd knock out 10 push-ups, and then the next week it doubled, so it went to 20 push-ups every hour. Then the next week it went to 30, and then 40, and then 50. So he kind of had a hand in helping get me prepared before I went to basic training.
And this is all while you were working at the shop with him?
Yeah, because we had our own little shop, and he worked on the bigger stuff, and I was working on the smaller section at the time. But he would be over here, and he would walk past, and he would say something to me, and I'd stop what I was doing, and I'd get down, I'd knock out my 10, 20, whatever, and then I'd get up and go back to work.
And then 13 years later, you still remember that. Do you feel like you appreciate that from him?
Oh yeah, he was, because if it wasn't for him, I mean, I won't give him like 100% credit, but he does have a portion to contribute to that. But if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't have joined the Army.
Okay. And then the Army was the first choice that you wanted to join? The branch?
Yeah, I tried. Well, the first choice was the Air Force, but I just got a thing about Air Force, and that just wasn't for me. Then I went and I looked at the Marines, but obviously because at that time when I went, tattoos weren't allowed.
Okay.
So when I went to go, as soon as I walked into the Marines office, they looked at my forearm and they were like, "We can't do nothing for you." I was like, "All right, cool." And they're like, "Oh, we know somebody who can." So then they want me down the street over there to the recruiting office for the Army. And then I went in there, and it took me twice to get into the Army. But
Okay, that's for another day. I got you. So, okay, so now you went down to the Army recruiter, right? Like, what was that experience for you?
um, the fast pace I was used to, but it was, I guess, me coming to the grips that my life is really fixing to change. And it's not, I mean, I have control over it to a degree, but once the day is over and I've signed and I'm being pushed out to basic training, that's it. I no longer have a say so in the matter. And it was, I mean, just having to face the fact that I'm willingly knowing that I'm like, in a sense, giving up all my rights to go and serve. But as far as like the recruiter, I mean, everything was good. He was always there for me. They're like, there was no questions. Even when I ran into that situation where I ended up walking out of MEPS because I wasn't signing the contract because it wasn't what I wanted. And he called me and asked me what had happened, and he took my side over everybody else. He's like, I completely understand. He's like, it's your life. You know, if you don't want to do this, don't sign just because someone's telling you to. If it's not something you don't want to do, don't sign.
And what age was roughly you were at around this time?
I think I went when I was 20 the first time, and then I waited a few more years, waited for the kind of the dust to settle that I
Yeah.
had brewed up, and then I went back and tried again, and everything went through.
And then you knew that you wanted to be like what, a mechanic? Because you are a 91 Mike, right? Bradley systems maintainer. So you knew you wanted to be that?
So originally, the first time that I went, I wasn't married, no kids, no nothing, and I was trying to be the old hua hua that you see on the commercials, and I wanted to go Ranger and all the other stuff, and then something came up and that I couldn't have that. So I was like, all right, cool. I was like, well, what's the next best thing? And then they were trying to get me something else, and that's when I decided that's not what I want. I walked out, raised a big commotion for that. But then when I came back, I originally wanted to have, originally was supposed to come in as a Black Hawk mechanic. And then something came up that denied me of getting that. And then so they're, oh, we got a 91 Mike. And I was like, okay, cool, what is that? So I was out over there talking to the career counselor, and then, you know, they show you the little video and what it is. And I was like, okay, cool, I'll take that. And
Okay.
then,
And now you're,
yeah, that was it. I mean, wasn't exactly what I thought it would be coming from, I guess you could say, a maintainer background, just because in the civilian world where I come from, we were breaking engines down, we were doing head swaps, we were replacing
Right.
pistons and like breaking things down. So my first interaction when I was stationed at Fort Bliss, my first duty station, my NCO smoked me for about 2 or 3 hours because when I first got there, I didn't know what was going on. He was just like, hey, here's a toolbox. There's a Brad. The pack was pulled, set, transmission was being separated because the engine was blown. So we were doing an engine swap, but I didn't know that at the time. So we go over there and they're like, yeah, the rings are fried, da 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 da. So I was like, all right, cool. I was like, well, all this stuff looks pretty familiar to me. So I'm over there taking the heads off, you know, just taking everything off. And my NCO comes around and he looked like he was about to pull a head gasket himself. So yeah, I was doing extracurricular activities for a good 2-3 hours for doing that.
so you were like, so because of your background with in the shop working on smaller lawn equipment and stuff, you just had like a natural thing for like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go get in the weeds of this
Yeah.
engine, and okay.
It just made sense just because that was something that I was familiar with. I had a background in it, so I was like, well, let's see what the Army can contribute to that field for me.
Okay, let me ask you something now. So, share your experience with going through AIT and just now being an instructor.
Oh, it's night and day.
So, can you give us a little bit of perspective, like what your AIT experience was, and then now you being an instructor? Like, can you just tie those together?
Yeah, it's a big difference, and I'm gonna try to put this in the politest way possible.
Fair.
But the lack of discipline that the trainees have now is like they know coming in that it's going to get handed to them.
Okay.
And back when we came through, it was like, okay, well, if you fail twice, that's it. There's no recycle. You go back to Fort Couch, or you go try to go talk to a career counselor to see if maybe you can go to another MOS. But it's like now, I mean, I get times have changed. When I went to AIT, it was back in 2012. But here we are, 2025, and times are different. But still, like that's the problem is I feel like the trainees now they're not learning anything because no one learns anything if everything is given to you your whole life. You become dependent on people giving you stuff.
Right, but that starts from like in the school system, right? Because I mean, in high school, I guess you're saying is that they just make it all the way and graduate high school. So now they decide to join the army. It's just like they're just going through it again, the motions.
I mean, essentially, but it's like when I came through AIT, I was always told that you will conform to the army will not conform to you. You signed on the dotted line. You volunteered for this. Like the army didn't put a gun to your head and like, hey, you're coming to work for us now. You volunteered for it, and I get it. It's not for everyone. So
Right.
if it's not for you, just do your time respectfully, get your honorable, and get out.
Okay.
But it's just the learning curve is different because obviously now I came through, there was only ODSs. I think the A3s were starting to get introduced, and now we have we got the A3s, we got the A4s, we got like the 6 or 7 platforms for the AMP-Vs now, and it's like everything is changing, and now there's this big demand for 91 mics because our workload has changed.
And what do you mean by the A3s and the A4s? He's talking about the Bradley Fighting Vehicle, and that's the model number of the equipment. I just wanted to preface that for them because now you and I, we know what we're talking
yeah.
about, but for someone who doesn't know what we're talking about, just wanted to make sure.
But I am kind of jealous though because now they have a lot better training aids than what we had when we came in. Because all we had was like the ODS things, and it was like but I think it was right before they changed it, where it used to be a hull mechanic and a turret mechanic, and then they combined it all into one. They're like, okay, you're going to be working on hull and turret.
Right.
But they just have a lot more training aids that makes it easier to understand, where we didn't have that. They got a computer and an MSD where they can control FTMs, and then here we were on test day with like 8 or 9 manuals. Like
With the books and stuff, yeah.
The manuals are like that thick.
And you have to kind of like pull the pages.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
So it was different. I mean, it's definitely evolved to a better step. It's just you can lead a horse to the river, but you can't make it drink. And that's all I'm gonna say on that one.
Let me ask you something. So you talked to the recruiter, you joined the army. Was it your goal to just do one contract and get out, or were you like, I'm gonna do 20 and retire?
I was gonna do one contract and see where it sent me because I really didn't know what to expect because you can watch all the videos you want on YouTube all day long, and none of that does any justice. It doesn't provide any clarity on what you're really about to get into until you leave reception.
Yeah.
And you get on that bus to go to basic training, and then real world stuff hits you in the face, and there's no turning around leaving it. You have to deal with it. So it's a reality check, for sure. Definitely lets you know where you stand across the board. Just as you as a person, spiritually, religiously. Basic training, when I went through basic training, it would give you a reality check.
No, absolutely. For some people, like just going through basic training, it'll be like, oh, would I really sign up for this? Like, I'm with you with that, having gone through myself, so we can share that experience. Like, yeah, it definitely
And
be
some
like,
people, this is their first time being away from home, being away from mom and dad.
Yeah.
18 years old, they finish high school. Next thing you know, they're on a bus with bare minimum stuff. They're going somewhere that they've never been before. They're with a bunch of people they don't know, and it's a shell shock for them.
yeah, like you can be homesick. The first time on an airplane. Yeah, first time being away from home.
When I was going to basic training, that was my first time ever flying on a plane.
Plane, yeah.
I was over there looking like that weirdo with a brown paper bag.
before before I used to thought that it was like, wow, you first time on an airplane, but it seems like a common thing to this day also too.
Mhm.
Yeah. Um, I wanted to ask you something real quick. So you went to Fort Bliss, right?
Mhm.
And you went to Fort Bliss. Like, what was that experience like at your first duty station? I know you did mention already about breaking down the engine, and your team chief or your supervisor was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But like, what did you learn from that duty station and make you decide to go somewhere else next?
So that duty station, first time having a real interaction with the Army and what the Army was going to be like, it just, I guess it depends on the person, but to me, it was a better life than what I was dealing with. Because me, I can't sit and be stagnant. I can't sit and just wait for the next person to fall off for me to move forward. Like there has to be like an open room for me to progress, and always an open slot. And in the Army, there's always some type of open slot, whether it's the position you're holding, whether it's the rank you're gonna get. There's multiple things that allow you for room for progression. But with my prior job, I didn't have that. So when I got there, I was like, yeah, okay, the hours are different. I'm used to working for the city of Raleigh 8 to 5. That's it. There was none of that once I joined the Army. It was like, hey, you do this until mission complete. So, but I mean, overall, it wasn't bad. The first time when I got to Bliss and I was getting ready to come up on my re-enlistment, I knew 100% that that's what I wanted to do.
Okay, good stuff. So we'll take a break, and then when we come back after the break, I want to go into Kuwait, right?
Mhm.
But specifically Kuwait when it comes to that assignment for a year there, to kind of give the viewers and them a perspective of like you could get an assignment to be away for a
Right.
year and working with your civilian counterparts to get the mission done and have vehicles ready for the fight.
Okay.
All right. All right. So I wanted to talk to you about Kuwait, right? Your Kuwait experience. So there's an assignment that you can have as a 91 Mike Bradley system maintainer that allows you to go on a 1 year assignment to Kuwait. Like, can you give us a little bit of like, share your story about how that experience was for you? You don't have to dive into anything really deep, but just kind of like share your experience, like the good, maybe there was bad stuff to it or whatever it is. Anybody wanting to consider going on that assignment?
So yeah, I spent a year in Arif John, Kuwait, working with the APS-5, the Army Preposition Go to War stocks.
Okay.
It definitely had its ups, but it definitely had its downs. For the most part, it was literally just working like a regular 9 to 5, as you would back in the States. Obviously, the only thing difference there is one, the heat.
Wow.
Yeah, the heat is still 140 in the sun and 120 in the shade. There's no getting away from it.
From it.
Their winter is still 80 degrees. Um, when it rains there, it floods because the ground is so dry that it can't.
Hold the water.
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, it's not bad, and especially too, like if you get stationed there unaccompanied, you have that privilege to go off post and actually explore the better parts of Kuwait for what it has to offer. You can also, we were able to go out to, some people went to Germany, some people went to, what's that? There's another little place below Kuwait, but you were able to venture out to the surrounding areas when it was peacetime. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I mean, it wasn't bad. The chain of command was good. I would say their tasking for the element size that we had was a little bit unrealistic. So our brigade should have been a battalion, and our battalion should have been a company just because of the size elements that we had. But I mean, with the short-handed and amount of people that we had, we made it work. So as green suiters, we didn't do anything as far as like turning wrenches or anything out there for the vehicles. All that stuff was like contracted out through Amentum. and Amentum was either contracting out like the local Kuwaiti nationals or the Indian people or whoever else, and I think they had some other outside contract that Amentum hired to come and give a helping hand. But it's hard to get that position now just because that's mainly for wheeled vehicles because there's not really Bradleys out there. But I mean, for the most part, you go out there and then they would give you a 5988, and there was a bunch of lots out there, and one lot that I was in charge of was lot 30, and it was massive. Massive.
Gotcha. I want to go back a little bit. Like, so did you choose to go on that assignment, or is it something like, oh, the Army is like selected you?
The first time I went to Kuwait was like a 9-month rotation, and obviously you can't go outside, you can't do whatever because you're on a rotational basis. You don't have that authorization. But after being stationed there, when I was there for 9 months, I was like, all right, cool. I was like, well, I either want to go to, because Kuwait showed up. So my first one was Stewart, obviously, because that's where my kids are. And then the second one was Bliss, because I remember Bliss, I'm very familiar with Bliss. And then Kuwait was on there, so I was just randomly through Kuwait up on 3. And I was like, oh, we'll see what happens. And then obviously Kuwait superseded everything and took the first slot. And they were like, hey, you're going to Kuwait. So I was like, all right, cool. But it's definitely a different experience PCSing there versus being on a rotational basis there. There's just a lot more. It's a lot better experience.
What would you say was like the best part about being there? Being stationed there as a PCS move, like
the best part about being there is actually being treated like a sergeant first class. No one micromanaged over there.
Okay. So you were kind of like just given the task, and your job is to just go execute it.
Yep.
Okay.
There was nobody trying to tell me like, hey, you need to do it this way, you need to do it that way. All they worried about was they gave me a task, get it done.
Get it done.
There was no micromanage come behind me, hey, you should do this, hey, you should do that. Like, well, I'm looking at, well, if that's the case, you go do it.
Right.
But no, there was none of that over there. Like, it was literally when they say play by big boy rules over there, that's exactly what it was.
Good stuff. And so
on your own, all that
stuff. So did you have anyone under you, or you were just like you have by yourself, like you're independently working by yourself?
So it's like you're independent, but you're also working in a group. So we had our office, and it consisted of like 6 or 7 people. But no one was above or under the other. We all were there to complete one job. So it's like we were all equal across the board. No one was in charge of no one. We were just like, we come together, and we were like respectfully like, hey, okay, you got this. Oh, do you want this? Okay, cool. You got this. You got lot 30. You got lot 20. You got this. And it worked easy.
And for this assignment, was you the only military personnel there, or working in the motor pool, or was it like you have other military personnel and other Army personnel?
It was other Army personnel, and they were there, but the only thing we were there to do was to make sure that, okay, we get the 5988, we go out to the lot that vehicle was supposed to be located in. If it's not located there, then we report it up as, hey, it's not here, and then they locate it. But we look at the 5988, and let's just say, i.e. example, it says, oh, well, left front driver's side tire is blown out. Oh yeah, it's got like a golf ball size hole in it. It's blown out. Okay, cool. They got the contractors, the Amentum guys, they put the NSN down. Okay, cool, correct NSN. Then we send it up, they approve it, they order the part, they change it, that packet comes back to us. They give me the 5988 saying that they had actually replaced it. So then I go all the way back out there to that vehicle. Yep, they replaced the tire. I stamp it, close it out. That's it.
That's it. Sounds like a pretty straightforward job, huh?
Yes.
100%. Let me ask you something. So, like, for being stationed over there in Kuwait, like, what is give us a breakdown of your typical day.
So typical day, the horn would go off. Around about that time, there was 2 or 3 gyms you could go to on post. We'd normally go to the gym. Me and a buddy of mine, we go to the gym for about an hour and a half. We come back, we shower, then we would go to the DFAC. And then we eat at the DFAC. And then we come back to the rooms, and then we would start heading into work around about like 09, depending on the work schedule. Normally, if the civilian guys told us that there was a bunch of packets of stuff we were going to have to verify, we would try to come in a little early just to try to beat the heat. But then we also got issued our own vehicle. So
nice.
there was one vehicle that we used to drive around on the installation to go back and forth to drive to the lots and stuff. And then, so those were the yellow tags, and then the white tags were other vehicles that we could borrow to go off to installation.
So yellow tags for uninstallation, white
Yep.
tags for off. Okay.
Then after that, we would work roughly until about 11:30 normally, and then we break for lunch for about an hour and a half, and then we come back, and then we would just pretty much work until mission complete, because we couldn't leave until all the packets were done. So it was essentially, it still had some of the same rules as you would if you were back in the States. Like, hey, like if you're in the middle of services, right? You're not gonna leave that day until your team chief has said, hey, we got these 4 vehicles, XYZ needs to get to this progression before we can go on to the next day. So it's kind of like the same thing, but it was just with the packets. You had to make sure you had all your packets for the section that you covered were done, and then they were filed. And at the end of the day, we had to sit there and count all the packets. Some of them we didn't do. The civilian guys were managed to do BART, so the 10 level stuff. We only worried about the 20 level. So if they did the 10 level stuff, we actually had to account for their packets as well and make sure that they turned everything in.
Would you recommend this assignment for anyone considering it?
Oh, 100%.
So you'd be like, take it if it comes up.
Oh yeah, if you can go to Germany, if you can go to Kuwait, if you can go to any of these foreign countries and just get out and explore on the government's dime, do it.
For sure. I want to transition to special interest, like any special interest that you will have, like, because sometimes like everyone out there, for our viewers, right, you guys think that like we just work in the army and all we think is army, army, army. I want you to know that like we all do have different interests that we engage in our spare time. So for you, like, what would be that thing that, you know, gets you excited when you're off work?
I mean, it varies. I mean, different points and times of your life, depending on like what's going on. The biggest thing that I'll say is a big key factor for being outside the military. Like once you're done for the day, it's just time management. You know, you have to allocate time for work. You have to allocate time for your kids if you have them. You have to allocate time for your spouse if you have them. Allocate time for your dogs if you have them. One of the big things for me is just chilling at the house and relaxing. It's like a quiet space, no work's there, nothing's there. I just like to sit there and just relax and try to regain the sanity that I lost.
Right.
From whatever had happened that
Look,
day.
I mean, with your job and what you do, like, yeah, you definitely need that time back. Okay, I feel you with that.
I mean, you'll find things throughout, you know, your career as you evolve and you change of what interests you, what used to interest you and don't interest you anymore. Like, I used to go to the gym like 2-3 times a day.
Right.
But that started putting aches and pains in places that I didn't like, so then I slowly backtracked off that.
Okay.
Now going to the gym that much no longer interests me anymore.
Like you have a dog or dogs?
I've got one right now.
All right, you have a dog. Like, tell us about it. Is it a she or he? What?
Hell on Wheels.
Hell on Wheels. That's the name.
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
Yeah.
so I have almost a 1.5-year-old female Belgian Malinois.
Oh, nice. Okay, those are nice. I've never seen one in like real life, but I know what it looks like though. That's good stuff. Like,
She's wired for time 24/7.
oh, okay, so she needs your attention, huh?
Oh yes, she is very demanding.
Very demand. So like, do you take her on walks and stuff to get out there?
So she normally has a fun time when I go to visit my parents. She's been very good on car rides, but we got like 4 or 5 acres of clear land, and I can put the training collar on her and I can just take her off the leash and she's just wide open, just burning all that energy off. But where I live at now is not that freely accessible because a lot of places they require you to have a leash on your dog.
Makes sense.
So I'm still currently trying to find a place that I can actually take her off the leash and just let her run wide open to burn all that extra energy off. But
Well, you got her from a pup?
yeah, so I got her. I got her from when I came back from Kuwait when I was PCS there because I wanted to get into the dog handling business.
Okay.
But at that time, I did not know how much demanding requirements that was gonna put for me. But then once I got the dog, it definitely put everything in perspective
Definitely.
because I used to have like a boxer, a husky. I used to have a handful of dogs,
Okay.
but I've never had one that was this energetic and was this demanding of needing something to do.
Yeah, that's what I've heard about them, that they just always want to do. They can't stay like,
No,
yeah,
they do
okay.
not like staying still.
Still makes sense, makes sense. Before we wrap it up, right? I wanted to to like leave a little bit of perspective, like, or I would say a recommendation to like someone out there who going through a difficult period, like not you went through a difficult period, but you were at your shop and you had someone that it's like, hey, why don't you join the army? Maybe there's someone out there sitting and is like, I want to do something better with my life and join the army. Like, what would you leave them with?
The most that I can say is don't make a rational decision and make that decision in one day. I would definitely sleep on it. Not saying that I regret my decision on joining the army, but it's a life changer, right? Definitely a life changer. So make sure that if you want to join the army, that's something deep down inside 100% that you want to do. There's many avenues of approaching the civilian side of the house before you cross over into the military realm, as far as like maybe different job opportunities or maybe changing your whole career field and progression and coming over on this side and doing something that you've never done before. Something that may pique your interest, but at least with the civilian side of the house, you can walk away from that. What's the worst you're gonna do? You're fired? Okay, cool, I'll go get
Get
another
another
job
job.
tomorrow. That doesn't happen over here. So it's like once you come over to the military side of the house, you're kind of stuck. There is no just walking away from it without repercussions. And if you do get in and you decide that's something you don't want to do, just do your 4 years and get out honorably. Don't do anything because there is still a factor that you could come into the military and get out with a dishonorable, do all this crazy nonsense that soldiers are doing before they even get to their first duty station, and then you won't even be able to get paid $15 to mess up my order at McDonald's.
Yeah, one of the piece of advices I have for anyone, especially when they're young, just be mindful of the things that you get into prior to joining. So whether it is like your drug use or or your whatever criminal activities, just be mindful and try not to hide any medical issues that you may have. Right, so. It's really hard to get that whole person like concept to be able to say, hey, look, I'm ready to join. So just be mindful of that, okay?
Oh yeah, because whatever you paid the lawyer and you thought was disappeared, nah,
Disappear.
they'll find it.
Hey, so thank you again, Rex Bishop, for being with us today, taking the time. Hopefully we could have you on again. Maybe we'll talk about
love to be here.
something that, that come up in the future and we can talk about it again. I really appreciate you taking your time today to joining us. Until next time with Beyond Appearance, we'll see you guys in the next one.